he was the only one that really believed I could do it with no experience, no degree. Only one that really advocated and said, you got to go get it. And then unfortunately, a couple days later, Drew lost his life. I can either sit here and like let life happen to me, or I can turn it into something positive for so much more and carry him with me. And I truly have. This never would have happened without him. It's so much more than just starting a company for starting a company. Yeah. I had one person in my corner that really thought I could do it. On the plane, I was on like calls with the soccer team, going to different games. I remember I would be at the airport, like talking to partners, talking to my graphics guy, doing work like after treatment. I would like hide out, have some alone time to get things done.
What was the scariest thing that you did as a bootstrapping founder from like a financial standpoint?
The first time I had to wire money, but it was the first down payment. Yeah. I'm calling the bank, I'm calling my dad. My dad's like, Gabby, I'm in New Jersey. I can't help you right now.
You can't get the money
back.
Oh
my gosh.
You've been in Urban Outfitters, sold out completely 4 times now.
Yes. Yeah, hundreds of emails, like hundreds of them saying, can you put these in our NFL care packages? Can you put this in our NBA care packages?
They were asking you to send them.
Yeah. If you have that big idea and you want to raise money, investors invest in people before ideas. They need to trust that you're going to have the tenacity to go on this journey. Things are figure outable.
Welcome to Stacked, the show that helps you become your own best asset. Because in case you missed it, you're allowed to have a high vibe and a high net worth. Welcome back to Stacked, the show that helps you become your own best asset. Today, we are talking about what a decade inside NFL and SEC locker rooms teaches you about confidence, performance, and the gap nobody else has been close enough to see, with Gabby Arancio, founder and CEO of GamePlan Skincare. Gabby is from Warren, New Jersey. She did her undergrad at the University of Miami and became one of the first of 2 women in history to be offered an NFL internship at the Miami Dolphins. From there, she went on to LSU as a graduate assistant athletic trainer and was on the staff that won the 2019 NCAA Football National Championship, the team that included Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. After a decade on the sideline of pro and college sports, she built GamePlan, the first skincare brand made for the modern athlete. She launched in 2024, sold out at Urban Outfitters 4 times. She's raised pre-seed funding. And on this episode, we are going to keep it practical. We're going to talk about men's grooming, what CPG industry has been getting wrong, and why female founders building in men is actually like one of the most underrated arbitrage plays you can have. And we'll dive into what 10 years on the sideline actually looks like before pivoting into building your own brand.
Yes.
Gabby, are you ready to get stacked?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I'm so excited you're here. Before we dive into it, I want to share with our listeners. So we've actually known each other for a couple of years. We have some mutual friends, and we both have been on this entrepreneurship journey kind of at the same time. And when we met, you were doing not something totally different, but you were not yet deep in your entrepreneurship journey.
I know. I was actually on the sideline when we met. I think. I was still on the sideline with probably pro soccer at that time, building this in the background and certainly at night when I wasn't on the field. But I was certainly still an athletic trainer when we started talking and became friends.
And then one of our mutual friends who also pushed me to go full-time entrepreneurship on my community, Brickle Babes, was also kind of unofficial advisor for you, pushing you to do the same.
Dear friend, and certainly was somebody that I was leaning on heavily at that time to take the plunge and take the leap. And I'm so happy that he did the same for you. And congratulations on everything that you're doing as well.
Thank you. I think before, we're going to get into everything on you, but before we do, I think the most important thing for anybody diving into an entrepreneurship journey is to have supportive people around you, because it is not for the faint of heart. And you have to be completely delusional, super crazy, like to work, and you got to find a tribe of people.
Only as good as the people around you at the point blank period. And I stand on that with all 10 toes. Yeah. So I couldn't agree more.
I always say, one of my favorite sayings is that you're the average of the 7 people you spend the most time with or you talk to the most. And have you heard that before?
No, but I love it.
So like for me, I'm like always constantly looking at like, who am I talking to the most? Not like every week, but on like maybe like a quarterly basis. I'm like, who am I spending the most time with? Who am I talking to the most? Like, are these people that are going or have lives that I want to be like or go places with?
I think the most important thing is surrounding yourself with people that motivate you and keep you ambitious. Like you gotta, like you said, you have to be one part crazy to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
no matter what the category. And I'm living it and so are you.
Yeah.
But surrounding yourself with people that have done it or that are doing it too is more motivating to me as well, with the people that I strive to be like and look up to and keep in my inner circle too.
I also think it's like, I feel like it's fun, like especially being in Miami, like we're a pretty like high growth city. There's so many people moving here, so many entrepreneurs.
Oh
it's very relatively easy to find like-minded people, and just like it almost feels like you're in college again.
The power of Miami and connectivity is wild. It's just when I meet somebody, they're like, I have 3 people to connect you to. Right. How can I help? How can I? And I live here because of that. I think if I lived anywhere else, not sure that I would have the same conviction to do and grow GamePlan the way that I am if I lived anywhere else in the world. I think Miami's the most special place for entrepreneurs at all levels.
Especially like I don't know what it was like pre-pandemic, and you've obviously been here since before the pandemic. I was in New York City for 10 years before and then moved here, and I feel like the people that I network with, like 1 level, 10 levels, like level of success ahead of where I want to be or what I aspire to. There's so many of them here now that relocated during the pandemic from New York, LA, Texas, wherever, that like our swimming pool of people that we have access to is incredible. It's the best networking in the world, I think.
The best, and for us, it's the wellness kind of capital of the world. Like this week I've been on 2 meetings and they've both been, first one was hot yoga. The second one was a 5K. Yeah. And those were the 2 meetings that I was having like that day in one day. So it's a culture of celebrating and embracing kind of that wellness community. And that's exactly who we are, here to talk to as well. But more than that, I think Miami just lights a fire in people to get things done and to be the best version of yourselves, or the version that you want to be. Yeah. For me, it was like, I have to live somewhere that lights a fire in me. Miami's flame has not gone out. I've been here for 5 years since I moved back from Louisiana. But you have to be somewhere where it enlights that in you, so you can get after it every single day.
All right, we could talk about this, I feel like, for hours, but I want to go like back to the beginning to like baby Gabby. You grew up in New Jersey. Walk me through, your childhood, where you grew up, and then what led you to initially study athletic training for college, and let's talk about that part of the journey.
So from Jersey, proud of it.
Jersey girl. We love Jersey.
Jersey girl. You definitely hear me before you see me. Come from, just the best family, and I wouldn't be who I am without them either. And, 1 brother, but my mom and dad, we grew up in the burbs, and a big part of that was playing sports and being involved in sports. And, I was not the like top athlete. I was definitely the hardest worker, like to a point where it's like chill out, lacrosse, basketball, but I played everything as a kid. I rode horses and worked on a farm. That attribute a lot of my work ethic to that portion of my life. I was literally working on a farm and I loved it. And I learned so much about just like authentic, real hard work in that stage. It's kind of an outlier though.
Horses are a lot of work.
Yeah, alpacas and all the animals. I was the animal keeper there. And I worked on a farm, did horseback riding, soccer, but really fell on basketball and lacrosse in high school, and was always the one, I think I led by action, and I noticed that people would gravitate towards me kind of as a leader, even though I wasn't necessarily the best athlete. I was the athlete that did everything right. I had my toe over the line every time we would do sprints. I didn't cheat a step, and that's kind of what led me to love sports. But getting into athletic training, went to the University of Miami, decided to go. It was the only place I applied outside of New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much. In Delaware, like the tri-state area.
Okay.
You know, I was planning on being like real close to home because no one really came this far out of my immediate family. And
had you visited Miami before?
No. Like
you just were like, I want to go somewhere warm.
Yeah. I got it on a wild card. It was like my wild card school. Got in early. My dad goes, let's just go to Miami and like check it out.
Dad wanted a Miami trip.
Dad wanted a Miami trip. So I'm like, okay. And he was like, we're driving. He goes, you want to stop by like the school, you know, before orientation? Let's just go see it. I said, okay, whatever. I'm along for the ride. And we pull up. We just see the palm trees and we park the car.
It's a really pretty campus.
My dad gets out and he goes, you need to go here. Like before anything even happened. So sit down. I thought I was going to be in physical therapy. I knew very quickly throughout high school that I didn't want to be behind a desk. Ironic, now I'm behind a desk like most of the day. But I knew very quickly I wanted to do something active and I wanted to help people. You know, I was always very kind of motivated to do that in my upbringing, helping other people, caring about people, healthcare. So sat down at a PT meeting, and then Dr. Keisha Harrell from the University of Miami, who's a legend, gets up and she starts talking about athletic training. And I said, wait, PTs are kind of in a clinic. You mean I get to be on the field the entire day? Like, count me in. And then I realized how many places you can work, and started working at Miami and fell in love with football from there. And that's like really where everything started.
So then you end up, so you decide this is like a degree, this is like a program that you could study.
This is a whole major,
4-year program.
Yeah.
So you are committed to doing that. You ended up getting an internship that they didn't really, not a lot of women, I don't know if they applied for or got. Talk to us about that. What was this internship?
Yeah, it was with Miami Dolphins.
An NFL internship.
I was, I believe, the second female student to be awarded it from the University of Miami, which, like, you know, I haven't thought about this in a long time, actually. But at that time, still, you know, women were still making these footprints in the NFL, but it wasn't something that was as celebrated as it is now in terms of just women in the league and around football. And, you know, I really did well with the team because I hustled, and the head trainer recommended me for the position, and that's how I got it.
What was it like being, you were what, 21 years old?
Yeah, something like that.
On a football field with a bunch of like big giant guys. Like you're the only girl. 2, like you're super young.
Yeah.
And then you're also in a role that was there's not a lot of women in that role.
Yeah, no, I mean, the NFL is a huge jump from college in terms of the business aspect of the game. You're watching guys get cut, like, and literally that's their livelihood on the line. That's their job. Yeah, this is before NIL, and before kind of like, you know, athletes are considered more business, way.
What is NIL?
Name, image, and likeness. So basically now athletes are getting paid for those things.
Okay.
And
this was in college.
They're now able to make money in college.
And that's NIL. Just for our listeners who are maybe not as like sports centric.
Yes.
We gotta.
Now athletes have the ability to get paid
in college. So college, there's a law passed recently, or NCAA ruling passed recently, where college kids can actually monetize their personal brand on sports, which wasn't the case before. Yeah. The universities were making a ton of money off of the athletes, but the athletes weren't actually seeing the money. And I think a lot of the changes here were driven by social media and people making money separately on their social media accounts, and kind of the gray area. They didn't really have a choice but to like
Correct. And like also give the opportunity for them, like if they're using their name, image, and like this, like as a university, the athlete wasn't seeing any of that, you know, money. So it's a fair play, certainly.
Totally a fair play.
It's completely changed the landscape of business and such, but it's something they deserve. And including like, you know, athletes will get money by going to different schools or transferring in the portal and stuff. And it's an opportunity that has never been presented to them at that age. But, you know, when I was leaving college.
You were in college football, then you go to NFL. And so this hadn't shaken out yet. So you're going from like what we grew up knowing is college sports to like the business of sports.
Exactly. It's business a lot sooner. And even now with youth sports and where that is headed, becoming, I mean, it will be a $70 billion industry by 2030, which jumps over most of the professional leagues combined.
So, okay, so you're at your internship, you're 21 years old, you're at the Miami Dolphins, you're with the team all the time. What was like the number one biggest thing that surprised you when you were a Miami Dolphins athletic training intern?
Yeah, I think it's in college, it was kind of all out there in terms of the injuries and, you know, getting them support, getting them, you know, holding their hand throughout the entire journey for 4 years, back when there was no transfer portal, because we had the ability and, you know, the privilege to be around guys, even when I was at LSU, for 4 years. So we can help them develop
have a relationship with
throughout those 4 years. And the NFL is just kind of, it's cutthroat. It's like next man up, next coach up.
So when your role was like a business role, your job is to get the athlete healthy, playing quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
It was a lot more transactional. It was like what
NFL
were the key
was
differences?
much more transactional and a lot more riding on those kind of, like, if you're in the
high stakes.
Yeah, and you know, perhaps the owner of the team would come in and check on the injured guys, and that's your job at stake, right? Like if they think you can't go, meaning play. And
you're the one making these decisions along with
no,
like, a
not when I was
team?
an intern.
No, but like your team is the one making the decision. The athlete is going to be able to play this game or they need to sit out.
Yeah, and ultimately it's the athlete as well, you know, like, but really like the one reporting is the you know, head athletic trainer or whoever is in that role of being the decision maker. Everyone else is supporting and trying their best to get the athletes back. But in the NFL, there's a lot more steps.
It's a very high pressure, high stakes.
Super high pressure. College is like that too, though. I mean, it's really no different. Especially, I was at NFLSU, so I was
LSU is like as serious as you can get. SEC football.
Yeah, and it was like the culture there was certainly at the level of NFL. The most intense. Their transition into the league was a lot more seamless than somebody coming from a smaller school, because we had that standard of excellence throughout everyone on the staff. Everyone had to be that.
Okay, so now we are kind of walking through Gabby's career 1.0. At what point did you start getting like an inkling of, I want to start a CPG brand? Like, how did you go from I'm an athletic trainer to I want to launch a CPG brand? And if you guys are not familiar, what is CPG? CPG is consumer packaged goods. So it's anything from, it could be beauty products, it could be snacks, it could be beverages, anything, any physical product that is packaged and marketed and sold to consumers. I've had that question a few times, so we have to start like simplifying a little bit more.
I didn't even know what that was until I started going.
You didn't even know what CPG was.
No, keep in mind, coming off the sideline, thought my career was going to be in healthcare. Yeah. Thought I had to keep going on that path, continue on the journey that I was on, and, you know, never really plan on starting a business. So I had to actually learn a lot. And
what was like the pivotal moment where you even wanted to start GamePlan?
Two things. First thing was that it all happened in a sequence of events. And, you know, throughout the years that I was working in football, specifically at LSU, you know, I was spending 10,000 hours, like easily experts in, you know, athletes and the athlete journey, et cetera. So all that time, I was one of the only women in the room, but I was also probably the staff member that was closest to their age in terms of like these kind of things to talk about.
Okay. So you're relatable,
and also,
and you're a girl, and you're safe, and you're not like somebody that's trying to hit on them. But it's like there's like a boundary, but like it's friends and like it's a safe space.
Exactly, and like, you know, comfort level was when you see athletes like 12 hours a day and they're your team.
It's a lot of time
you're traveling together. So like there is a level of comfort and familiarity with the staff members and even the coaches. So, you know, I was kind of the go-to person for all those issues, right? Okay. And basically what I found was that I could answer every question. I think every problem's fixable. And that's probably why I was good at my job. For lack of talent or skill set, I thought I would do what it took to get to the bottom of every problem. And I would not rest until everybody was good for Saturday when it was time to perform. That was like what I held a lot of pride in is my ability to get guys back, but also invest my time in them to get them back on the field and get them to perform at their best. And found the one question I couldn't really figure out was, why am I breaking out?
Where were they breaking out?
Chin strap area. So
these are football players, and they're breaking out where they're getting a lot of like rubbing.
Correct.
From
contact.
Equipment.
Yeah, friction. And also keep in mind, a lot of the equipment is ridden with bacteria, and that's just
like
the nature
face,
of sport.
But then also like body too,
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Exactly. So that was what I was seeing directly happen. And I would take them to the dermatologist. I would sanitize their equipment. I would have the equipment room red light, blue light it. We had the best facility in college football, everything at our fingertips. Could not figure out what was causing these guys to break out. So then I watched and I learned and I listened, and that was a big part of my job. That was a big part of what made me a good athletic trainer. And I realized that nobody was handling the point of sweat, and they had no idea how to wash their face on the go when they had another workout to go, when they were going to eat with their friends and they didn't want to shower right away, when they were sitting on my training table and I was doing, their rehab with them. Realized that they had nothing to handle that moment, and there was no way for them to wash their face between sweating and the shower or a sink.
There was no one, they don't have time to always take a shower between workouts.
Right.
Two, maybe they shower, but they don't know how to what products to use to wash their face.
Lack
of
education,
the whatever shower gel's in the shower.
Right.
Maybe they brought their own, but these are guys. They don't know what to buy. There's nobody really marketing skincare to guys. It's just not.
And at the time, it was a lot less than it is now. And there was a lot of confusion about how to build a routine. I would go lengths because, a lot of them didn't have cars, and I would go to the office with them, especially if they had other medical issues. And, if the dermatologist was going to give them medicine, I had to certainly know about it, take notes. Yeah. But I would drive them back. We would go to CVS on the way back, and they would be like, I'm so confused. That's what they would say to me. I'm so confused. What products? Can you just tell me what it is? They're
literally asking you, what do I buy?
Literally, what do I buy? But even buying those, it was the time period. It was that rescue moment that was needed between them sweating and being able to properly rinse off their face.
What percentage of the athletes you worked with would you say struggled with acne like this?
I would say 85% of them.
85%.
85% struggle with sport-induced breakouts, and that's just a stat from what I saw. But 85% of people in general struggle with acne at some point in their lives. So that's huge, massive market and industry. But in terms of the sport-induced issues, which is caused by bacteria, sweat, friction, other people's sweat, dirt,
humidity. It's a thing here in Miami.
For girls, excess makeup sitting on your skin. You know.
I
was working with guys, but female athletes certainly deal with those sport-induced skin issues because sweat is just trapped in their pores for too long.
Okay, so you've identified a problem.
Yeah.
You see it. You're helping solve it in real time, picking whatever you think is the best product or kind of what the dermatologist recommended. Literally going shopping with these guys.
Literally,
so now when does version 1.0 of GamePlan come out? And what is GamePlan?
Yeah, so GamePlan it's GamePlan Skincare. We make performance hygiene products that are engineered for sport, and we're normalizing skincare for athletes at all levels, from youth to amateur to professional. So, going into this, I really thought that we missed something as a community. Why is nobody making products for athletes? Because I'm seeing them every day.
You're seeing them every day. Fitness is only becoming more and more important in society.
Only becoming more active. Yeah. And also, how many people played youth sports growing up? So although I was working with the 1%, I really was considering the 99% in how I formulated this and how I engineered this, with approval and with confidence from the 1%, because that was my focus group. Okay. Considered my soccer players and my football players that I was introducing this to, sampling with, my live focus group, because they were telling me, I just had actually one of my guys, Stefan Sullivan and Derek Dillon, they came on a call with me yesterday for an investor, and we were telling the story, right? Because Stefan and Derek, I asked both of them, I vividly remember, what do you need and what will make you wash your face?
What did they say?
Tell me?
What did they say?
I don't know. I don't know how to get you guys to do it. And they said it has to be stupid simple, has to look cool, it has to be fast, and it has to smell good. And I said, what can make me bring this to life? And I had this idea, right? And this is part of the story, as you said, what made me do it? Yeah. I had this idea, and I had talked to somebody I considered family. His name was Drew. He was my our best friend growing up, my brother and I, 20 years of friendship. Just that person that for some reason enters your life and never really leaves and, forced his way into our family, but in a way that, we couldn't be more lucky to have had. Told him about the idea, and he was the only one that really believed I could do it with no experience, no degree, sticking up for me in front of other people. Only one that really advocated and said, no, Gabby, this is a effing good idea and you got to go get it. And then unfortunately, a couple of days later, Drew lost his life. So,
oh no,
yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's just a part of the story that I love to share because even though it's really sad. Super sad, but I shifted it, and this is how I get to carry his legacy on. Yeah. His initials are actually on the back of our packaging, drawn by my brother Robbie. And we support mental health and self-care in men, but also in a way that feels authentic to the modern day athlete, and that's a big part of the brand. So I kind of sat there when I heard the news, and obviously we're all beside ourselves, and I just said, okay, I can either sit here and let life happen to me in this way and be, through this trauma and grieve, or I can turn it into something positive for so much more and carry him with me. And I truly have. This never would have happened without him or without his kind of relentless belief in me growing up and giving me the confidence that I can do anything. And that's what he gave me. So how lucky am I to have had?
Now you can carry on his legacy in another way.
No doubt, but it's so much more than just starting a company for starting a company. I started it because I could not get away from this question and because I had one person in my corner that really thought I could do it.
So, okay, so now let's talk about logistically. It's the original product number one. Mm-hmm. You have one product right now. I'm sure you have plans for many, many more products in the pipeline.
You have no idea.
So there's not a lot of players regarding wipes, and you go on this mission to start looking for manufacturers.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I did my diligence here in the US. And if you think about kind of the giants in the space here in wipes, it's Clorox and Lysol. And that is kind of the capabilities that a lot of these people I was going to had. And there's not a lot of people that do skincare grade wipes here. Most people go out of the country to do it. And it's not really done domestically. So I didn't like the quality of the products that I was getting when I was doing R&D and sampling with some of these labs that were in the US. And I said, okay, there's too many preservatives in it, or it's just not a formula I'm comfortable recommending. And I don't like the way it feels. It was sticky, there was residue, just not the vibe. And I also had a very deep understanding of what active skin needed at the point of sweat. So I found and did diligence on and had, great advisors also. That's another reason why I landed on this lab, thank God. Loved the companies they worked with that were first movers in clean beauty and clean ingredients and historic brands that everybody knows the name of. So started sampling with them, did the R&D, fell in love with it, and they happen to be making the wipes out of Korea and developing them there.
Quality materials. Love Korean skincare.
They're about 40 years ahead in innovation than the US. And they prioritize everything that all skincare should, which is gentle cleansing and hydration, but also clean ingredients that, are actually beneficial to your skin, no fillers, and just doing the right thing. And I found that the formula was exactly what my athletes needed. They liked it. It actually helps with skin hydration because your moisture barrier is affected by sweat due to salt sitting on your skin. So it hit all the marks of what this wipe needed to be. And they were just a dream to work with. It had great company culture. And that's also very important to me in the partners that I take. So that's how I landed on the lab. I got lucky in terms of they took me as just a girl with an idea. And I was pitching them this idea. And they said, we would love to do this project. It's very interesting. They usually work with people much more established than.
Yeah. So you're working with Miami FC full-time, intense job, traveling with the team, all of the things. And then living off your W-2 salary.
Yes.
And then at night and on weekends, which you probably didn't have too many weekends because your sports games are all the time. You are bootstrapping, calling factories in Korea, convincing them to work with you.
Yeah, pretty much.
What was the scariest thing that you did as a bootstrapping founder from a financial standpoint?
The first time I had to wire money.
How much did you wire?
I can't remember the amount, but it was It was a lot. It was
like a few $1,000s.
Like, yeah, like it was definitely in product development. I can't remember the amount, but it was the first down payment. Yeah. And it was the first time I had ever done an international wire, you know? So I'm like sitting there with I'm calling the bank. I'm calling my dad. My dad's like, Gabby, I'm in New Jersey. You know, I can't like, you know, help you right now. I can't help
you. You can't get the money back.
Oh my gosh. And I was just so stressed out that it didn't go to the right person that I was calling my partners and I was like, did you get it yet? Did you get it yet? I was so nervous that it didn't make it because I thought I did it wrong. But, you know, there's resources for a reason.
And so what did you get with this initial wire? What were you like buying?
Down payment on
production,
products, yeah.
For a couple hundred units.
Yeah, like, you know, a couple thousand.
A couple thousand units.
Oh yeah, we started
So there was no turning back. You're like, I need to now figure out how to sell a couple thousand of these.
Exactly.
Somehow.
Exactly. Like all in. I really jumped 2 feet first. Like there wasn't like, once I decided to go for it, it wasn't just like a pinky toe in the water. It was like, I'm diving, like head down, and I'm focused on it. And I did all that. I was taking calls like on the plane. I was on like calls with the soccer team, going to different games. I remember I would be at the airport, like talking to partners and talking to my graphics guy and doing work like after treatment. I would like hide out and like kind of have some alone time to get things done, sign contracts. But I was doing it all like, yeah, crazy part of my life.
What was your first signal that you saw once you had the actual product landed here? And how did you go about selling it?
Initially, it was really hard to do that when I was working full time. But the initial signal I saw was when my athletes were asking me for more. And they were asking me to keep bringing it to the locker room, et cetera. And, you know, I was selling and trying to
Were they buying it from you at that point?
No, I was bringing it you
were giving it to them to see how they liked it.
Just because I'm like, they sampled throughout the whole time. So when we say tested by athletes, we really actually
tested.
Literally every sample that came in. We tried one with salicylic acid. It burned them at the point of sweat because your skin is more
open.
Yeah, your pores are more susceptible, but your body temperature is elevated. So I realized that even though that product is widely researched and very effective for acne, I couldn't bring myself to use it in the product. I felt like it had to be a lot more universal to the entire face. But they were the ones that told me, because they were the ones I made it for. I'm not like, there was no guessing game. There was no guessing game with anything that ever happened with this company, including the packaging. I showed them. I was like, is this something you would take out of your bag and be proud to use? Because again, we're normalizing skincare, certainly for men, but again, for athletes at the point of sweat, for men and women, we're normalizing it. So it had to be something that they liked and that they felt cool. And they would give me the feedback, honestly. So that was a huge part of the testing process. And then that was the first signal. But the second signal, you know, just in general, was how much interest I had off the bat. I had hundreds of agencies contacting me when I started.
What kind of agencies?
Like sports agencies.
Okay. Like, you know, that represent the athlete.
Yeah, hundreds of emails, like hundreds of them saying, can you put these in our NFL care packages? Can you put this in our NBA care packages?
They were asking you to send them.
Yeah, they want product to give the guys.
And did you even like have your website set up yet to like
had the website,
do drop ship and everything?
Yeah. And we you know, I had the website, everything was in a warehouse, you know, my 3PL. And I had the capabilities and stuff, and I was so excited. I was like, oh, this interest. I still have the list from year one about everybody that reached out. And I, you know, when I would get on the phone with these agents and I would say, I want a conversation before I send anything, I would say, why do you want this in there? And they said, because they're asking for it. They want skincare. They don't want electrolytes. They don't want
They're sick of all the protein bars, the snacks, the powders.
They want self-care. They want foot masks. They want skincare. They want candles. That's what these agents told me. So that was a strong signal, like, you know,
there's nobody doing this.
There's nobody doing this, and you're the only one that popped up when I looked up athlete skincare. That was a very early signal for us in terms of the interest, because these are like the top 1%. Right. Since then, we've kind of changed the way we look at, like, you know, who to invest the seeding in.
Yeah. How are you going to allocate that?
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, a lot of the guys like might not even open the care packages, but that is what they asked them for. So great repeat signal.
So I want to jump to the next chapter of your business. How did you know it was time to raise your seed round? You raised $150,000?
Yeah, we raised a small friends and family, and it was our pre-seed. So we're actually raising our seed round now, and I bootstrap most of the company. on my own. And my business partner, Allison, and my COO, she came in, and
we love Allison.
We love Allison.
Shout out to Allison.
She's a shout out to you, but she's my right hand. She really is. She, cause I will just go rogue. And so will she, respectfully. Like when we're at tournaments and stuff, it's so fun seeing her, watching her get involved with sports and teams. But she really crossed the T's and dotted the I's for me in my early days when I didn't even know what we needed. So, making sure we were all legally bound and all of that. But yes, but Allison came in and, between her and I, with me already having a product in my hand before I met her, we bootstrapped the company, and now we're raising our seed round. So how did I know it was time to go? We kind of started to model out what the next 5 years is going to look like on the way to an acquisition. And we really want to grow this into a brand that is an empire. So it's time to, we have all the KPIs, we have strong signals, we have very strong early traction. So it's time to pour gas on the fire and to really put some funds behind it, because we haven't even scratched the surface in terms of what we've been deploying and advertising in TikTok and all the things.
And so you guys are on, let's talk about retail now for a minute. So you guys are on, you've been in Urban Outfitters, sold out completely 4 times now.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
you. Amazing. You're on Amazon. You were just telling me before we started filming that you have, what is this recommendation on Amazon, and how do you get it?
Yeah, we're Amazon's overall pick.
So the little pick mark when you're searching in a category.
Exactly. Yeah. If you look up GamePlan
I always
Skincare.
Buy those. Whatever they recommend, I'm like, I trust.
My girl. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a huge, award, and it's not based on with PR,
you can't pay to get it.
Can't pay to get it. It's completely hands off. It's just based on reviews. It's based on organic searches, and it's based on performance and how many you're selling in the category. So we always strive to be that pick because we know we can attain it. Yeah. So it's what are the efforts? That's always a monthly goal of ours. What are the efforts that we need to do to drive organic searches on Amazon and make sure that we're hitting that mark, because that's the title we want to keep. And obviously I'm a competitor. I don't want to lose that.
You're an athlete.
I'm an athlete.
By training, by nature, by design, by profession. You want to win.
I will not lose.
Okay. So you have one hero product right now. We've been teasing, what do you have in the pipeline? What are your dream kind of wish list products that you would want to get into next?
I think the shift with that is it's our dream as a company. The way that we're building this is that we're asking our community what they need. And we're doing that with our brand ambassadors. We're doing that at tournaments. We are asking athletes, what they need and what they're really missing from their current routine. So same way that I kind of told you, I didn't guess. I really actually genuinely mean that I didn't guess. I asked them what they want, what will make them do it, what will they use, what are the issues that I can help them solve. So we're doing so in a similar fashion. A big thing that comes up is acne mechanica in general, which affects 32%.
What is acne mechanica?
It's acne and skin issues that are induced by friction. So it could be gear that's too tight and rubbing. So for example, if you wear shoulder pads, if you do lacrosse, hockey, football, shoulder pads can rub on your skin, compress in areas it shouldn't with the chin strap, etc. That laying on your skin can cause breakouts as well. Chin strap, helmet, baseball hat. You think about girls lacrosse. You think about now flag football, they wear the headbands. Anything that's attributed to gear or, things that you have to wear in protective equipment that attribute to acne and sport-induced skin issues. So big percentage of athletes that deal with that, are the ones that we are asking. And what's come up is body acne and backne. What's come up is just general routine. They just want a 1, 2, 3 step, not even think about it. Because if you think about it, athletes have so much noise. Yeah. They have so much noise in their lives. So how do I help them block out the noise that people are trying to shove down their throats with supplements, nutrition, what data to collect, all the things? How do I make it a little bit more simple with skincare in that sense, just to not make it another thing to tack on to what they already have on their plate? Because all those things do matter, and we want them to be focused on those things. But we also want skincare to be easy, mindless, and as simple as possible. And that's really the secret to guys.
What I love about your product and your business is that you You know, we have Divya Gugani on the show
she's amazing.
a few episodes ago. Her episode came out this week. But one of the things she loves to say, obviously she's big in the CPG space as an investor and founder, is to ask 100 potential customers before you build anything. You probably asked more than 1,000 customers before you built anything, not knowing you were going to build something.
Exactly.
So you had product market fit, you had signal, you had done all of the research that a lot of founders don't do before they just go out and decide to build something.
Without even knowing it too. I mean, I think back to when we were kids, and I remember like my brother would have lacrosse tournaments and he'd be laying on the ground and I'd be putting this like clay green mask on him. And, you know, a lot of it was stemming from what I didn't see as insights at the time, but that became my key insights. And I think if you don't know if you have a good idea, ask the market. Like, I can't stress that enough before you dive in.
Get consumer feedback. People pay tens of thousands of dollars to get feedback from very fancy marketing agencies and consulting agencies, and you have it in front of you. That's the best thing you can do.
And that's the strength of working full time while I did it. I had my live focus group at my fingertips, and I can ask them a million things. Like, how many steps would you be motivated to do? Because nobody needs like a 20-step routine. In my opinion, that's just an opinion, but like, how do I keep it very simple for that moment that it matters, which is the point of sweat.
Why did you build for men, and what does the rest of the CPG world miss about this particular demographic?
So I built with men, but with a women's touch. And I say that because I understand kind of cosmetics, and I would be in the dermatology appointments with them, but I cared enough to figure it out. And I wasn't just going to, make this just a product for men. I wanted to be easy enough for a guy to know that he can use and simple enough to understand and to implement, but with enough backing and honestly integrity in the formulation that women would pick it up too and be like, this is a no-brainer. Yes, I want you to use this, or yes, I'm going to use it for myself, my husband, my kids, etc. Did that answer the entire thing?
For our listeners out there, what advice would you recommend for other founders looking to raise a seed or pre-seed round, and what would you recommend that they focus on, and what would you recommend that they definitely don't spend money on right now?
If you're raising an early round, this is advice that I've gotten passed on to me and that I certainly exemplify, but I'll pass it on to the next person that's watching this. If you have that big idea and you want to raise money, I think that investors invest in people before ideas at that, start. You can have the best idea, and the idea does matter, but they're investing that you're going to be the one to execute it. So they need to trust that you're going to have the tenacity to go on this journey in entrepreneurship, and getting stuck on, things are figure outable, if you will. With your deck, you might not have the perfect deck, but if people see the vision for this and they see that you're somebody that can get it done, that is what they're investing in at that early stage. And I'm thankful that I bootstrapped it up to the point that I did. Yeah. And I'm still thankful that I did that. I didn't have to, kind of blur the cap table at that time, but you want partners that believe in you anyway. So I think that's good advice for anybody that's starting a business or on this journey of fundraising. Take money from people that would be supportive to you.
Yeah, and that you want to work with for a long time.
100%, they're your partners.
Don't just there's such thing as a bad check. There's bad money out there.
There's a lot of bad money, and I'm not taking any bad money.
And you want anybody on your cap table to be strategic.
Absolutely, because they can help you with operations and fill the gaps
doors, distribution channels.
No doubt. And also they will, if you leave with that mindset, for example, my biggest thing is hire people that are smarter than you. Have them all around you, have them on your team. If you're the smartest person in the room, then you're probably doing something wrong.
All right, we're going to move on to our lightning round, rapid fire.
Woo!
We have some fun ones in here for you.
Okay.
All right.
Lay it on me.
We got sports, we got startup, strappy, bootstrap, CPG, all of it.
Okay, let's get into it.
This is a fun one. Okay.
Just kidding, I'm not nervous.
LSU or Miami Hurricanes?
Both of them. I can't pick. They were both so critical in my career. Come on, that's the one you start with? I'm just kidding. Both.
Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase?
Both. I love them for both separate reasons. They're both unique people, and together they're better. So, them being on the same team, absolute asset and arsenal for the Bengals. So I choose both. You want them both on the field.
Okay, we'll take it. NFL or NBA?
NFL.
Fundraise or bootstrap?
Bootstrap.
Influencer asks for equity, yes or no?
Nope.
That was so fast.
It depends. Look, community is at the heart of this. It has to be the right fit. It has to be very strategic. The thing that I've dealt with is if you put somebody on a brand and they don't perform and you give up equity, you have to have guardrails around that equity. You also have to make sure you have deliverables for them to vest over certain periods of time. But you also need to make sure that person's not going to fall off of your company and not build it with you. So I'd rather take a bet on myself and save the equity. But that's not to say that we won't have a face on the brand at some point. Okay. I think it's just worthwhile to invest in our community right now. Okay. But it has to be the right person, has to be the right fit. Name doesn't really matter. It's impact.
Enter retailers or direct to consumer?
Direct to consumer.
Aesthetic first or product first?
I mean, product formulation. Consumers are smart. If you don't have a good product, they'll sniff it out immediately. Okay. So I choose that part. Aesthetic will come with time and money.
New SKUs or fewer hero SKUs?
Fewer heroes.
Limited time drops or evergreen bestsellers?
Evergreen bestsellers. You want a product with longevity and a lifetime value that surpasses the industry benchmark. So for us, having those products that you take with you from childhood into your adulthood, that's really, and establishing those habits along the way, I would choose that any day because that's going to be a successful company.
UGC organic content or paid ads?
Organic.
Wipes or toner?
Wipes.
That was an easy one for you.
I'm a wipes girl. What can I say?
Last one. So what's more important for skin health? Sweating or sleeping?
Beauty sleep. You cannot, sleep hygiene is so critical and it's critical to your skin. But, sweat is not the culprit. We need to celebrate sweat. I sweat standing up and I'm proud of it. I'm sweating right now. I'm going to use a wipe right after. No, just kidding. But what I will say is embrace your sweat. Understand that your body doing something good for you. It's the largest organ in the body. You are releasing toxins. We don't want to stop it. We just want to have you clean off as fast as you can after it.
All right. That is the end of the show. Gabby, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Where can everybody find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Gabby Arancio. You can find me on Instagram. I just started a personal founders account. So if you want to follow the journey, it's at Gabby Arancio.
Definitely following along.
Yes. And then you can find us on Amazon, on our website, and at GamePlan Skincare on TikTok and Instagram.
Amazing. All right, you guys, this is your locker room starter pack, and this is exactly the kind of conversation Stacked exists for. You can find Gabby at GamePlanSkincare.com, on Amazon, everywhere she just said. And we are so excited to have her on the show. This is where all the ambitious women show up. This is for the athlete in your family because soft power runs on hard assets and confidence runs on routine. I'm your host, Emily Dempsey. This is Stacked, the show that helps you become your own best asset. You guys can like, subscribe, and comment on all of our platforms, on all of our channels. Every little bit helps, and we really appreciate your support. It helps us keep the show going. We'll see you next week. That's a wrap on this episode of Stacked. If this one added value, share it with someone who's ready to level up their financial life. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave a rating and review. It helps us keep the show going and reach more people who are serious about becoming their own best asset. You can subscribe to our newsletter at www.stackedassets.co for weekly intel on Bitcoin markets, business, and living well. Follow along on socials at Stacked Assets or my personal at Emily Dempsey for more on Bitcoin business and building the life you actually want. I'll see you next week. Stay stacked.